What's good, everybody? My name is Alckemy and welcome to another How to Byte video. Today's bass is going to be covering Disprove, which sounds like this. It's a pretty simple bass that's relatively straightforward, but if you guys already know the protocol, I'm not Disprove and neither are you, but if you like the sound, then we can probably both learn something from the video. The premise of this sound is relatively simple. It actually mostly comes from stacking resonance filters. And a lot of times what happens is if you have a high bandpass or a high resonance peak at a low mid frequency range, and then you sweep another high resonance filter across from it, you usually end up getting this awesome kind of like roaring metal interaction between. And from that point, it's kind of just using distortion and EQ and kind of shaping and making it nice and bright, and then adding some limiting in order to get the phrase. The trick to it though is that it's kind of dependent on the pitch that you play. So you're not going to be able to play this across entire octaves like a keyboard. It's usually best implemented to record a single note and then pitch that around. You probably could do some key tracking, but that would be very meticulous, and I'm going to show you the easy version of how to get into that. That being said, we are so close to 10,000 subscribers. I'm literally only 75 away, and as most of you know, whenever we hit 10K, I will be sending off to one lucky winner a sub pack M2X. So with all that out of the way, be sure to like and subscribe if you like this kind of content. Let's figure out how to make this sound. So we're actually just going to start off with a simple sine wave. You're going to turn the unison on and set the smooth detuning to about 69%, and you should have a very simple sound kind of like this. And to be honest, the most important thing that you're going to get from the sound is actually going to come from these three things right here. We're going to turn on a bandpass distortion around 77 Hertz, then turn on some distortion, then turn on another instance of a bandpass filter, except this time we're going to modulate it. And together, even if you don't have anything else on your processing chain, you're going to get something like this. And it's very subtle, but you can kind of already hear how it's kind of making that whoa sound. So we're going to brighten it up just a little bit with a tiny bit of noise, followed by even more distortion. And you can start to see that we're already shaping the sound in such a way. Now, because we are using a bandpass, one thing that you can do is grab another group and send a sine wave with just a little bit of distortion as a separate chain, or together, doesn't really matter. But now we have our own dedicated sub. So with this, we are going to stack a few multi-passes, and I would argue that you can actually all do this in one, but it was just kind of me fiddling around with the sound. But on this, we are making sure that the low end is in mono. There's a flanger that's just kind of running on its own, and then we have a saturator. So now we have this. Next up, we're going to use our nonlinear filter, and that's going to cut off some of the high end whenever this activates. And this is cool in case if you kind of want more of like a womp that's really deep. We're going to come back to this in just a sec. For now, let's take a look at this one, and we are using a notch boost, and then we have some dynamics on the high band. And from that point, you can kind of already tell that the character is already there. It's just a matter of bringing it out more. So one of the last things that we're going to do is open this up. We have some mid-side EQ right here. So everything below 143 Hertz, I'm taking out to make sure that that's left in the mono signal. And then on the top end, we've got some dynamics that we're pushing up along with a saturator. Then we are going to add ourselves a limiter, and we're just going to push the gain up pretty harshly. For an added extra bonus on the outside, something that you can try is to add just another dynamics here, and you can see that we're stacking high end on top of this. But if you take a high end dynamics just like this, and then you send it through a hard clipper, then you can make the sound really big, which will sound like this. It's pretty noisy, so you might want to turn on that other filter whenever you use it, but at the same time, it's pretty beefy and sounds pretty good. But that's a pretty simple sound. There's not really a whole lot else to it, and this should be an excellent starting point in making these kinds of sounds and then kind of creating variations off of that. So it was a short one, but it definitely was a sweet one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you like this series, then please do me a favor and interact with the content so I can keep bringing you videos like this. Thanks, everybody.